Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this week's video, we'll be looking at how to multiply and divide decimal numbers. And before we go ahead, please be sure to click on the subscribe button and also hit the like on this video. With that said, let's get right into this week's lesson. The first example we're going to work is 137.64 multiplied by 1.3. In this example, when we're multiplying by decimals, the first thing that we're going to do is try to cancel out or multiply out our decimals. So since our largest or most decimal points that we have or places that we have is two decimal places, which is in the 137.64, two decimal places, we're going to multiply by 100 to cancel that decimal point. So we're going to have 137.64 multiplied by 100, and since we multiplied that by 100, we would need to multiply our 1.3 by 100 as well. So multiplying that out, we'll have 13764 multiplied by 130. 130. Now that we've got that, we're gonna multiply as normal. So we have, let's write this. So we have 13764 multiplied by 130. And we're gonna now multiply this as per normal. So let's draw in our columns so that we don't get confused. Obviously, as time goes by and you continue to practice, you would not need to draw in the columns. This will come natural to you. But for now, if you do get confused, you should draw your columns. So I'm going to start multiplying with our 1. So therefore, I'll put zeros as placeholders under the 0 and then under the 3. Then I have 1 times 4, which is 4. 1 times 6 gives us 6. 1 times 7 is 7. Then we have 1 times 3 is 3, and then 1 times 1 is 1. I'm going to now multiply the 3, so I'm going to put a 0 under the 0 as placeholder. Then we have 3 times 4. Which is 12. So we're going to write our 12 outside and we're going to cancel our 2. So we're going to put our 2 under our 0. Then we have 3 times 6. That is 18 plus our 1 from outside, which gives us 19. We're going to take our 9 and put our 9 inside, which leaves us with 1 remainder. So we have 3 times 7, which is 21 plus the 1 from outside, which gives us 22. Then we have 3 times 3, which is 9 plus the 2 remainder gives us 11. So we're going to take our 1. Then we have 3 times 1, which gives us 3, plus the 1 gives us 4. And then we would multiply by the 0, but we should know that any number multiplied by 0 gives us 0. So that is 0 times 4, 0, 0 times 6, 0, 0 times 7 is 0, 0 times 3 is 0, and 0 times 1 is 0. You wouldn't need to put this in because we already know the answers would be 0, but just for clarity, we're going to put that in. Now we're going to add all our values up together. So we have 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 gives us 0. 0 plus 2 plus 0 gives us 2. 9 plus 4, which is the same as 10 plus 3, gives us 13. So we're going to write our 13 outside, take our 3. And we have 1 remaining. So we have 6 plus 2, which gives us 8, plus 1 gives us 9. 7 plus 1 gives us 8. And then we have 4 plus 3, which is the same as 5 plus 2 gives us 7, and then our 1 comes down. So our answer now is 1, 7, 8, 9, 1.320. However, we need to check our decimal places. So going back to our original equation, we need to count how much decimal places we had. So counting, we had let's use red. So we had 1, 2, and then remember we multiplied our 1.3 by 2 as well. So for the sake of it, let's put our 0 behind that. So we had 1.30 multiplied by 100. So that was 2 decimal places as well. So adding up our decimal places, we had 4 decimal places. So counting our decimal places now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places, which gives us our answer as 1.178.9320. We're now going to divide decimal numbers. So in our example, we have 140.2 divided by 2.2. So what we're going to do now is multiply out our decimal places. So we have 140.2. To multiply this or cancel our decimal place, we have to multiply by 10. And we're going to do the same for 2.2, which is we multiply by 10. Solving this, we'll have 1,402 divided by 22. We're now going to solve this using the bus stop method, which I'm pretty sure we're all aware of, or no. So we have our 22 outside, and that is divided into 1,402. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to multiply our 22. We're going to divide our 22 into our 1,402. So 22 into 1 cannot go, so that's a 0. 22 into 14 cannot go, so that's another 0. And then we have 22 into 140, and that goes 6 times. So 22 times 6 would give us 132. And we're going to subtract that. So our 2 would come down, and then we have 2 from 0, which would give us, cannot go, so we have to borrow 1 from the 4, which gives us 3 remaining, and then our 0 becomes 10. So 2 from 10 would give us 8 remaining, 3 from 3 is 0, and then 1 from 1 is 0. So now we have 82. 22 into 82 can go 3 times. So we're going to write our 3 on top. So 22 times 3 would give us 66. So we're going to write our 66 on the 82. And we're going to subtract that. 6 from 2 cannot go. So we're going to borrow 1 from the 8, which would leave it 7 remaining. And then the 2 becomes 12. 6 from 12 would give us 6 remaining. And then 6 from 7 leaves us with 1 remaining. So now we have 22 into 16. That cannot go, so we need to add a 0 behind the 16. And when we add our 0, we're going to add our decimal point on top. So now that we have our decimal point, we're going to have 22 into 160, which goes 7 times. 22 times 7 would give us 154. And we're going to subtract that. 4 from 0 cannot go, so we're going to borrow 1 from the 6, and we'll have 5 remaining. And the 0 becomes 10. 4 from 10 has 6 remaining, and 5 from 5 is 0. 1 from 1 is 0. So we're going to now have 6. We're going to add another 0 behind the 6. So we now have 60. We have 22 into 60, and that goes 2 times. 22 times 2 would give us 44. And we're going to subtract that. So we have 4 from 0, which cannot go. So we borrow 1 from the 6, which leaves with 5. And the 1 becomes 10. 4 from 10 leaves 6. 4 from 5 leaves 1. And that's 16. We're going to add another 0 behind our 16, and that becomes 160. 22 into 160 goes 7 times. 22 times 7 gives us 154. Subtract that. We're going to have 4 cannot go into 0, so we're going to borrow 1 from the 6, which leaves with 5. Oops. Which leaves with 5, and now our 0 becomes 10. We have 4 from 10, which is 6. 5 from 5 is 0. And then 1 from 1 is 0 as well. So we're going to have 6 remaining. We're going to add another 0, and then we have 22 into 60, which goes 2 times. And then 22 times 2 gives us 44, and we're going to subtract that, and the process continues and continues and continues. So that would be 16, and then we would add another 0 behind it, and then continue and continue and continue. From the trend, we can see that our answer would be 0.72727272, because it continues the same. It starts a trend. And if you watch my previous video, which I will link above, you will know that this is known as recurring decimal. So once we see our answer starts recurring, our decimal point starts recurring. So 727272. Or if it was 777, that's a recurring decimal. So our answer would be 63.72 recurring. Recurring, so we're going to write that with a dot on top of the 7 and on top of the 2. So in order to divide decimal numbers, we must first multiply out our decimal points, which would leave us with numbers without any decimal places, and we're going to divide that as per normal, as if it were normal numbers. And that answer would give you the same as if we were dividing actual decimals. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.